Welcome to Dumbarton House and the Picnic Theater Company's production of The Manchurian Candidate. We're so delighted to have you back here. All of the proceeds from this evening's performance go to preserving this beautiful historic home and museum and into our educational programming and historic preservation efforts around the country. If you're interested in attending more events at Dumbarton House, check out our calendar online at www.dumbartonhouse.org/programs. And it is my distinct pleasure to welcome the director of the Picnic Theater Company, Steve Rockland, to the stage.
Thank you, Mary. Isn't this a gorgeous night at a beautiful place? Yes. Give it up for Dumbarton House and Museum. We have had an incredible partnership with Dumbarton. I think this is our 23rd play here. Could not be possible without all of you, so please give yourself a round of applause. As Mary mentioned, all the proceeds go to this incredible institution. So, people, let's talk. Manchurian Candidate. Why are we doing the Manchurian Candidate? I tell you, it just came to me around 2016 that we should do this play. So, one of our cast members, Alexa Newland, actually did some research, was checking Google for searches of the trends in searching the Manchurian Candidate. And not surprisingly, around that time, it exploded. And geometric number of searches going up. Can you guess which city in the world is most frequently searches for the Manchurian Candidate? Anyone guess which city?
Right here.
Arlington, Virginia.
Boise, Idaho. No, unfortunately, you're all wrong. The answer is actually Washington, D.C. And our next performance will be the Hollywood classic Gaslight, which we're not doing that. So yes, Manchurian Candidate is amazing in terms of how it's been able to forecast and predict the future and is still part of the cultural zeitgeist. We have the Frank Sinatra version, there is the Denzel Washington version, we're actually doing the Frank version, and there's all kinds of lore about the original one because it is seen as one of the best movies of all time, but it did terrible box office, and there's all this myth around the movie. There's this notion that Sinatra was good friends with JFK and that when JFK was assassinated, he pulled it from the theaters and said, this will never be shown again. And it's a great story, but it's not true. It actually was released about 13 months before that tragic event happened. And so when I was trying to figure out why it didn't do good box office, I think the answer is actually in the movie poster, because the real movie poster that was released at the time of the film pretty much says, if you arrive 5 minutes late to this movie, you'll have no idea what's going on. That is not Hall of Fame advertising, my friends. And the poster also says, if you stay to the end, you'll agree there's nothing like it. And that, I think, is true. I think this is closest cousin is probably Dr. Strangelove. It is one of a kind. If you look at this, you have to ask yourself, is this film noir? Is it a thriller? Is it an espionage movie? Is it satire? Is it farce? And the answer is yes. It's yes to all of that. And what that means is that there's some wonderfully odd dialogue in it. And so just go with it. The other thing that I would say is that as you're watching, we have our biggest cast ever in the history of Picnic Theater. And you may be seeing some people who are sort of playing a character of a certain kind, and then they sort of show up in another scene, and you're wondering, oh my God, is this a secret part of the whodunit? Is this something that we should be looking for signs and symbols about the secret of what's going on? And I got to be honest with you people, we're just doubling up roles. I mean, we're an amateur troupe, DC professionals by day, actors by night. We're doing the best we can. So just go with that too. Now, on a more serious note, we are hewing to the play. The play does involve some gun violence. It's a tough time for all of that. We understand there may be some discomfort. I just want to let you know as a disclaimer beforehand, and please, sort of choose what you want to do yourself. We completely understand, but just warning you about that. Now, one more item of business. Going back to why I don't think this did such great box office back in the day. And it's really interesting because when it came out, there were massive, apparently, campaigns and protests against this by the authoritarian right and the extreme communist left, who said this is a horrible, horrible work of art and terrible for values. And I think that if you produce a work of art that upsets the fascists and the communists at the same time, you're doing something right. All right. So sit back and enjoy. We are going to start in exactly 1 minute. So glad to have you.
Melvin! 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 Are you weeding again? Why? You were just doing it yesterday.
Doris, they're weeds. They grow back.
Well, just make sure you're washed up by 6, dear. I've invited the Slotskys over for dinner. Their son, Raymond, is back from college.
Who's back from where?
Raymond, dear. Raymond. Oh.
Raymond. Raymond Shaw is the bravest, kindest, warmest, most wonderful human being I've ever known in my life.
Raymond? Raymond Shaw? Raymond Shaw is the bravest, warmest, most wonderful human being I've ever known in my life.
Raymond Shaw is the bravest, kindest, warmest, most wonderful human being I've ever known in my life.
Raymond? Raymond Shaw? Well, he's the bravest, kindest, warmest, most wonderful human being I've ever known in my life.
Raymond Shaw is the bravest, kindest, warmest, most wonderful human being I've ever known in my life.
He sounds just lovely, dear. Why don't you invite him to dinner with the Slotskys?
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for Senator Johnny Iceland. Oh, wait. That's not quite right. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the President of the United States of America, Johnny Iceland. Now, settle down, everyone. Settle down. Really, you are too kind, but we have important business here. Oh, you're too much, really. Really, settle down. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to bestow the Congressional Medal of Honor to Staff Sergeant Raymond Shaw. My friends, this is an historic occasion to honor Sergeant Shaw's historic bravery. With this historic medal, on this historic day, for an act of valor I can only describe as historic. Yeah, that has a good ring to it. Johnny, you old beguiler, you should have been a speechwriter.
Can you believe it, Johnny? The Congressional Medal of Honor, our nation's highest award for valor, going to our Raymond, flown directly from combat in Korea straight back to Washington, D.C., to be personally decorated by the President of the United States. Now we will have generals and senators alike begging to lick our boots.
Babe, you make it sound like you're getting the medal.
I might as well be, dear. Don't you look smart today? But you were supposed to grow out a beard, Johnny. You haven't even started.
Oh yeah, about that. Growing an Abe Lincoln beard? Babe, I mean, come on.
It's called an Amish beard, Johnny.
The fellas at the Senate canteen give me a hard enough time as it is.
We've been over this before, Johnny. It's a talisman.
A talus what?
A totem. A symbol. The country, the press keep whining. Oh, we're so divided. Who will unify us? Who will be our Lincoln? Well, I'm going to give them their Lincoln. His ghost will unify us, just in our image. Don't you worry about it, Johnny. You're starting to sprout another wrinkle.
Where?
Right where your Amish beard will hide it. Start growing, Senator Iceland.
I don't even think I can. I've always had more of a cherub look.
Raymond! Congratulations, son. How do you feel?
Like Captain Idiot in Astounding Science comics.
Hold it, Mr. Secretary. Hold it, Mr. Secretary. Come over here, Johnny. You with a face. Take our picture. Take lots of pictures.
Senator Eiseley, how about a statement? How does it feel to be the father of a Medal of Honor winner?
He is not my father. Mother, what is this? What are you doing here? I specifically left you off the guest list.
How could Senator Eiseley be anything but proud of his beloved stepson? Imagine our dear Raymond, and I quote, did display valor far above and beyond the call of duty by single-handedly saving the lives of 9 members of his patrol, capturing an enemy machine gun nest, and taking out an entire company of enemy infantry in the process. He then proceeded to lead his men, who had been listed as missing in action for 3 days, back through enemy lines to safety.
If I may, my dear, I can only say that I, as one who has devoted his life to the service of his country, as one who has sacrificed greatly for the great cause of American freedom.
You did this, Mother. You organized this disgusting 3-ring circus.
Darling, you are a Congressional Medal of Honor winner. I was going to write and congratulate you, but we have been in the most frightful mess the last 3 months. I can't even tell you.
This moment, above all others, will stand out as the proudest and most prideful moment.
That's quite enough, dear. Esteemed members of the press, Raymond is understandably exhausted after his long trip back from Seoul and will need to get his rest. That is all for today. Raymond, what is the matter with you? We have gone to a great deal of trouble here.
We even arranged a parade for you and so forth.
A parade? Why, you publicity-seeking, flag-wearing boob!
Raymond, just because your parents and the entire country, for that matter, are proud of you.
Who's kidding who, Mother? Johnny Eiseley's boy, Medal of Honor winner. Oh, that should get you another 50,000 votes.
Raymond, how can you speak to me this way? I'm your mother. You know I want nothing for myself. You know my entire life is devoted to helping you and helping Johnny. My boys, my 2 little boys.
Stop it, Mother. Stop it.
And I've sacrificed so much. I've willingly shared my 2 most prized possessions in the world with my country. And even if my country is not grateful, I'm proud to do it because that's how much I love my country and how much I love you, Raymond. Raymond, where are you going? You get back here and join your parade this instant, young man.
All right. Let's go.
Hey, take your money today.
Come on, here we go.
Hey, stay on the ice deck. Sergeant's coming.
Oh, Sergeant can blow it out his barracks bag for all I care.
I can hear you, Corporal.
Oh, can you? Well, hear this. You're welcome to join in so I can take your paycheck. It's a lot fatter than mine. If not, you're welcome to make tracks.
Hey, Malcolm, shut your pie hole and show some respect.
I'm sorry, Captain Marco. I didn't mean nothing by it.
Go on. Get out of here yourself. Scram, all of you.
All right, let's go.
They despise me, Ben, don't they?
Oh, Raymond, I wouldn't go that far.
It's quite all right. Because I despise them right back. But you, Ben, I don't despise you.
Sure, Raymond, that's because we're pals.
Come on, Ben. You wouldn't go that far either.
Captain Marco, Sergeant Shaw!
What is it now, Chunjin?
Sirs, 1,000 apologies for my interruption, but I've learned good intelligence that the Russians have crossed the 38th parallel. They've entered South Korea, sirs!
Russians? That would start World War III.
Captain Marco, I swear, the intelligence is good. It comes from my family. I grew up just 2 miles from here.
Every place we've been in Korea, that joke has been born 2 miles from it. I wouldn't trust that weasel Kunjin to spell cat if I spotted him the C and the T. But I suppose we gotta check it out.
There's movement on the ridge. Right on top of us, sir, maybe 100 meters.
Take cover! Huh. Chunjin, what exactly is that?
I believe it's a meeting of the Spring Lake Garden Club of New Jersey, sir.
I see. And what is a meeting of the Spring Lake Garden Club of New Jersey taking place in an active war zone just south of the 38th parallel in the Republic of South Korea?
The intelligence checks out, sir.
It's all right there in the intel report, Sarge. It checks out.
The intel checks out, sir.
Checks out.
Yeah, the intel checks out.
Yeah, it checks out.
Intel checks out.
Sir, hydrangeas can be pretty tricky. You better get down there.
Well, I suppose if the intel checks out.
Another modern discovery, which we owe to the hydrangea, concerns the influence of air drainage upon plant climate. Oh! Formerly, we used to consider sheltered valleys more favorable to plants than hilltops, but good air drainage gives the hills a decided advantage.
Oh!
Comrades from the Kremlin and from Beijing, allow me to introduce our distinguished guests. These American soldiers were captured while on patrol investigating a false report of Russian action in the battle zone. It was a perfectly laid trap by our comrade Silkov here. Now, I must apologize for our guests' less than sociable manners. You see, I have conditioned them, or brainwashed them, which I understand is the new American word, to believe that they are waiting out the storm in the lobby of a small hotel in New Jersey, where a meeting of the Ladies' Garden Club is currently in progress. Now, I've told the men that they can smoke. Are you enjoying your cigarette, Ed?
Yes, ma'am. Real smooth. With good flavor.
Yak dung. Tastes good like a cigarette should. Now, allow me to introduce the famous Raymond Shaw, the young man you've flown 8,000 miles to this dreary spot in Manchuria to see. Raymond, come over by me, please. Comrade Zilkov, the witness is yours.
So, tell me, Raymond, have you ever killed anyone?
Oh, in combat? Yes, I suppose so. I'm fairly good with a rifle, sir.
You're modest, Raymond. Raymond here has been a crack shot since childhood.
May I have the bayonet, please?
Not with the knives, with the hands. Here, have him use this.
Now tell me, Raymond, whom do you dislike the least in your group who are here today?
Well, I suppose Captain Marco, ma'am.
Oh, that won't do, Raymond. We need the captain to get you your medal. Whom else?
Well, I suppose Ed Mavoli, ma'am.
Much better. Now, Raymond, take this scarf and strangle Edmavoli to death.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Sarge, that tickles.
Oh, quiet, please, Ed. You just sit there quietly and cooperate.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Very good, Raymond. You killed Edmavoli very efficiently.
Thank you, ma'am.
Captain Marco, when you return to your patrol in Korea and you make your way to command headquarters, what will be the first course of action that you will undertake?
I will recommend urgently that Raymond Shaw be posted for the Medal of Honor. He saved our lives and took out a complete company of Chinese infantry.
A complete company? What the hell is this?
I think we can spare one imaginary company of infantry for this particular plan, Mikhail.
Well, if we're out to humiliate our brave Chinese allies in the newspapers of the world, we might as well make it a full battalion then.
If we may proceed with the demonstration, Bobby Lembeck, please step forward. Now, I understand the men consider Bobby to be a mascot of sorts. Raymond, shoot Bobby in the head.
Yes, ma'am. May I take this thing off now, Mother?
Oh, Raymond, what is the matter with you? Why do you always have to look as if your head is about to come to a point in the next 13 seconds? Just relax. Johnny, get him a drink or something. You'll be home in less than 2.5 hours.
Home? I'm not going home with you, Mother. I'm going to New York.
What?
I've got a job at a newspaper. Research assistant to Mr. Holborn Gaines.
Holborn Gaines? That communist?
He is not a communist, Mother. He's a Republican.
But the terrible things he has written about Johnny.
We've discovered that we both have a great deal in common.
What could you possibly have in common with that dreadful old man?
Well, for one thing, we've discovered that we both loathe and despise you and Johnny.
Johnny, phase 1 of your campaign plan starts now. We have no time to lose.
We can't do that. We have to lay low. Babe, war hero or not, this is a disaster. Holborn Gaines? With Raymond's help, he'll savage me. He'll rip me to shreds. I won't have a scrap of clothes on my back. I'll be naked, babe.
Metaphorically speaking.
Ah, it's not that. I'm just saying naked as a figure of speech.
How clever, dear. I'll admit, Raymond and Holborn Gaines. It looks bad. But it could be a blessing in disguise with a deft hand. And lucky for you, I have 2 deft hands.
Babe, you're good, but Holborn Gaines, he's at the Times. Anyone who's anyone reads every word. The convention, I'll have no chance.
But you will, Johnny, because you are going to control the message, and Holborn Gaines will be our biggest megaphone.
How? He will contradict and undermine everything I say. He'll call me a fool.
I hope he does.
What?
He'll be helping us, Johnny, and he won't even realize he's doing it. It's all the principle of Occam's razor.
Razor? Wait just a second, Eleanor. We're going to 86 him mob style? Who are you going to get to do it?
The principle of Occam's razor states that all other things equal, explanations which posit fewer entities or fewer types of entities are to be preferred over explanations which posit more. To wit, the simple explanation beats the complicated one. Just suppose you say, Martians are going to invade. Holborn Gaines says, hogwash. But you are a United States Senator. People like you. They believe you. Well, they don't like you or believe you that much, but just enough to believe a tale of panic. People are much more likely to believe a forecast that calls for a falling sky than one that calls for blue, particularly from a United States Senator. So if Holborn Gaines fulminates and says, Martians are absurd, that's a lie, well, that is not nearly comforting enough for his readers. And they will say, well, prove it. Well, there is no evidence. Really? Prove it. Well, Martians don't exist. Really? Maybe they're hiding. For God's sake, there's no life on Mars. How do you know? Have you ever been there? He will have to issue 10 words of rebuttal for every one that you use. And all the while, he'll be writing, the Martian invasion. The Martian invasion. And that is all that anybody will remember.
Babe, you're still not answering my question. Is the plan to cut this guy with a razor or what?
Just start phase 1 of your campaign plan, dearest. Now.
Major Benjamin Marco. Mr. Secretary, sir, it's an honor.
It's an honor for you, but confusing for me, Marco. You're from Defense Intelligence. Understand you did excellent work in the field. Got yourself a promotion. Why in God's name have they assigned you to public affairs?
Well, we got into some hairy stuff there in Korea, and I suppose the higher-ups decided to give my nerves a break, sir.
Well, the only danger to your health in these press conferences is boring you to death. Okay, Ben, let's get this show on the road.
Very good. Any questions for the Secretary?
Mr. Secretary, can you explain the proposed cuts in budget?
Okay, darling. Since you've asked a simple-minded question, I'll give you an equally simple-minded answer. The Navy's overwhelming preponderance of surface ships is totally dominant in the world today. There is no need for it. Hence the cut in the budget. Major, my time's important. How long do we have to go on with this nonsense?
Mr. Secretary, I have a question, sir.
And who are you, sir?
I am United States Senator John Yerkes Iceland. And I have a question so serious, the safety of our nation may very well depend upon your answer, sir. No evasions, Mr. Secretary. No evasions, if you please.
Evasions? What the hell are you talking about? What kind of foolishness is this?
I am United States Senator John Yerkes Iceland, and I have here a list of the names of 207 persons who are known by the Secretary of Defense as being members of the Communist Party.
What?
Who are still, nevertheless, working in and shaping the policy of the Defense Department. I demand an answer, Mr. Secretary. There will be no covering up,
Covering
sir.
up?
No
What?
covering up, and you are not going to get your hands on this list.
How'd you get in here in the first place? Major, throw this lunatic out of here.
And I deeply regret having to say in front of these ladies and gentlemen and the television and radio audience of this great nation that you no longer have my confidence, sir.
Why, you're an idiot. You're out of your mind.
No, sir. This matter is no longer for investigation by the Defense Department. I'm afraid you have lost your chance, sir. This matter is now the responsibility of the United States Senate.
Throw that lunatic out of here. Where's the sergeant at arms? I will not have you in here another minute. If I see you in here again, I will throw you out bodily. Enough with the cameras. Clear the room. Clear the room.
Senator, I'd like to verify that number, sir. How many communists did you say?
I said there were, I have absolute proof that there are,
You said 104, dear.
104 card-carrying communists in the Defense Department at this time.
How many, sir?
275, dear.
I said 275, and that's absolutely all I have to say on the subject at this time. Come on, babe.
So good in there, Tuck. I'm so proud of you, and the country will be too.
Major, how many did he say?
Ben, may I come in? May I ask the Colonel, A, is this an official visit? And B, can I mix you a drink?
A, yes it is. B,
most certainly may. Scotch, neat. Ben, the Army has a lot of things wrong with it, but it does take care of its own people, which is why I'm here. A public affairs officer, you're a disaster. Apparently, among other things, you allowed the secretary to make a number of unfortunate remarks to that idiot Iceland, which set him off on a rampage. Colonel, Mickey, you have to listen to me. For the last 6 months, I've been driven nearly out of my mind by the same recurring dream. Doesn't it strike anyone as curious that Mavoli was one of the 2 men lost in action? Yet every night in my dream, he's the one. He's the one that Raymond... Sorry. Now look, Dan. Ever since you brought this recurring dream of yours to our attention, Raymond Shaw, his life, his habits, his backgrounds, his friends and associates have all been under scrupulous examination. Now the facts speak for themselves. His stepfather is a United States Senator. His mother is the head of 15 different patriotic organizations. Raymond Shaw himself is employed as the assistant to Holborn Gaines, the most respected political journalist in America. Now, Ben, I've got to ask, just what are your personal feelings towards Shaw?
Raymond Shaw is the warmest, bravest, kindest, most wonderful human being I've ever known in my life.
I see. And this opinion, Ben, was it generally held? His fellow soldiers, did they feel the same way about him?
Mickey, there's something phony going on. There's something phony about me, about Raymond Shaw, about this whole Medal of Honor business. For instance, when you asked me how I felt about Raymond Shaw, did you hear what I said? It's just not true. It's not that Raymond Shaw is hard to like. He's impossible to like. As a matter of fact, he's probably one of the most repulsive human beings I've ever known in my life.
Ben, what I've come to tell you is that public affairs has bounced you back to me in Army intelligence. And in your present condition, there's no way I can use you. As at this moment, I'm putting you on indefinite sick leave. Go away, Ben. Find yourself a girl. Lie in the sun.
I absolutely refuse.
You don't seem to understand. What I just told you isn't a suggestion, Major. It is an order.
Yes, sir.
Dear Sarge, I had to say this or write this to someone because I think I'm going nuts. And seeing as you are my best friend in the Army, well, here goes. Sarge, I'm in trouble. I'm afraid to go to sleep. I keep having these nightmares about the guys on patrol, and when you got that medal. And in the dream, there's all these Chinese people, and this big brass from the Russian army, and it's really horrible. Sarge, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Sincerely, Corporal Al Melvin.
Raymond Shaw, please.
This is he.
Raymond, why don't you pass the time by playing a little solitaire? Can you see the Red Queen? The Queen of Diamonds, Raymond.
Yes, sir.
Proceed to Timothy Thwauden's Sanitarium, 84 East 61st Street. We need you there for a checkup. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Very well. You may put the cards away now. Goodbye, Raymond. Welcome, Doctor. When did you arrive?
I was flown in last night under embassy quota. Revolting journey. Ah, Raymond, it's nice to see you again.
It's nice to see you again, ma'am.
Nice facility you have here, Comrade Zilkov.
Well, thank you, Doctor. It's actually a rest home for the wealthy alcoholics. We were able to purchase it 3 years ago. In fact, it's one of the rare Soviet operations in America that actually showed a profit at the end of the last fiscal year.
Profit? Fiscal year? Beware, my dear Zilkov. The virus of capitalism is highly contagious. Soon, you'll be lending money out at interest. You must try, my dear Zilkov, to cultivate a sense of humor. There's nothing like a good laugh every now and then to lighten the burdens of the proletariat struggle. Do you understand the implications of the weapon that has been placed at your disposal? A brainwashed American who's been trained to kill. Then, to have no memory of having killed. He cannot possibly feel guilt or have any reason to fear being caught. And having been relieved of those uniquely American symptoms, guilt and fear, he cannot possibly give himself away. His brain has not only been washed, as they say, it's been dry cleaned. He's ready to be turned over to his American operator, I personally guarantee it.
And I, being personally responsible for the Soviet security in the entire United States, refuse to turn him over to his operator until at least one practical test has been run. You say the man has been billed as an assassin. Very well then, let him assassinate someone.
If you must insist on this foolishness, have him kill one of your own people here on a sealed floor.
I would gladly. But our organization happens to be under acceptable strength as it is. Why can't you kill some non-productive person on the outside?
Very well then. But he must be instructed for his own safety that if he is ever, at any time, discovered at the scene of an assignment, this other person or persons must also be killed.
All right, Doctor. Whom do you think you should kill then?
With humor, my dear Zilkov. Always with a little humor. If we must kill for a better New York, then why not his superior at the newspaper, Mr. Holborn Gaines? With Mr. Gaines out of the way, might he not then be given that very influential job himself?
Yeah. Then where are you going?
Well, since there's nothing more I can do until my specialists arrive, I thought to spend the afternoon at Macy's. I must have something proper to wear to the Bolshoi.
Who's there?
It's me, Mr. Gaines. I'm sorry to disturb you, sir.
Always a pleasure to see you, Raymond. Any time of day or night. You're not disturbing me, but you are humiliating me. You've borne witness to this ridiculous-looking robe. It was my wife's. It's the warmest thing I have. Perfect for reading late at night. And as it turns out, excellent blackmail material for you, my boy.
I didn't know you were married, sir.
She died nearly 6 years ago. Now, what the devil are you doing here at 4 o'clock in the morning? Now, don't tell me you've come here at this ridiculous hour to talk something over. You're not going to pour out your heart with the details of some sordid love affair or anything like that, now, are you?
No, sir.
Honestly, I'm a bit disappointed. Not that I have any wisdom at all on such matters. Whatever the reason, I'm happy you're here. You know, Shaw, I must admit I brought you on board at the Times as a bit of a lark.
A Medal of Honor winner willing to commit virtual matricide and patricide against the venal John and Eleanor Iceland via the power of the pen. Oh, too tempting indeed. But you have a wonderful mind, Shaw. You understand, as do I, that the core of democracy is not debate over tax policy or wage law or labor versus finance. The defense of democracy starts with protecting the people against their greatest enemy, themselves, and those who have the will and the means to manipulate them. Sadly, there are master dissemblers who can and do play the media like a concerto, wield rhetoric like a rapier. To call them con artists is too civil. They are venal, murderous gangsters who take to fascism like pigs in the muck. Your parents are exhibits A and B. But you have the guts to stop them and the mind to make it happen. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm impressed. Now, why did you say you needed to drop by?
They told me you'd be asleep.
Who told you I'd be asleep?
They did.
Who's this mysterious they, Raymond? Raymond, what are you doing? Raymond, what's the gun for? Raymond, no!
Mind if I smoke?
Not at all. Please do.
Maryland's a beautiful state.
This is Delaware.
Oh, I know. Well, I was one of the workmen who laid the track on the stretch. But nevertheless, Maryland is a beautiful state. So is Ohio, for that matter.
I guess so. You in the railroad business?
Not anymore. However, if you'll permit me to point out, when you ask that question, you should really say, are you in the railroad line? Where's your home?
I'm in the Army. I'm a major. Been in the Army most of my life. I move around a great bit. What's your name?
Eugenie.
Pardon?
No kidding. I really mean it. Crazy French pronunciation and all.
It's pretty.
Thank you.
I suppose your friends call you Jenny.
Well, not yet they haven't, for which I'm extremely grateful. But you may call me Jenny.
Well, what do your friends call you?
Rosie. My full name is Eugenie Rose. Of the two names, I've always preferred Rosie. Smells of brown soap and beer. Whereas Eugenie always seemed a bit more fragile.
Still, when I asked you what your name was, you said Eugenie.
It's quite possible I was feeling more or less fragile at that instant.
You know, I could never figure out what that phrase meant, more or less. Anyway, my name's Ben. It's really Bennett, named after Arnold Bennett.
The writer?
No, Lieutenant Colonel. He was my father's commanding officer at the time.
What's your last name?
Marco.
Major Marco. Are you Italian?
No.
Let me ask that a different way. Are you married?
No. You?
No.
What's your last name?
Cheney. I'm a production assistant for a man named Justin, who had 2 hits last season. I live on 34th Street, a few doors down from the Modern Museum of Art, where I'm a Tea Privileges member. No cream. I live at 53 West 54th Street, apartment 3B. Can you remember that?
Yes.
My phone number is Eldorado 59970. Can you remember that?
Yes.
Eldorado 59970.
Yes? Who the devil are you?
I'm Chinchin, Mr. Shaw.
I interpreted for the Charlie Company, 52nd Regiment.
Oh, I remember you. You were the interpreter and guide on the patrol. What can I do for you? I mean to say, what are you doing here?
Your father, Senator Iselin, did not say to you?
He is not my father. If you remember nothing else from your visit to this country, memorize that fact.
I wrote to Senator Iselin. I told him how I interpreted for your outfit. I told him I want to come to America. He got me a visa. Now I need a job. I am a tailor and mender. I'm a good cook. I can drive you anywhere. I'm a sweeper and scrubber. I can take all your messages. I'll even sleep in the house of my cousin if need be. I came to you because you're a great man who saved my life.
Well, I could use a valet. And it would be nice to have a cook, a good cook, I mean. Very well. You can live at your cousin's. I'll pay you $60 a week. You'll have every Thursday and every other Sunday off.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to Washington in a few minutes. I'll be back at 8:30. I would like to have dinner waiting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just like the United States Army.
Oh, God, I hope not.
You are going to be perfectly marvelous in there this afternoon, hon. I just know you are.
Yeah, there's just one thing, babe. I'd be a lot happier if we could just settle on the number of communists I know there are in the Defense Department. I mean, the way you keep changing the figures on me all the time, it makes me look like a nut, like some kind of an idiot. Boys in the Senate are even starting to kid me about it.
Well, you're going to look like an even bigger idiot unless you get in there and do exactly what you're told.
Babe.
Who are they writing about all over this country? And what are they saying? Are they saying, are there any communists in the Defense Department? Of course not. They're saying, how many communists are there in the Defense Department?
Yeah?
So, stop acting like a big expert all of a sudden and get in there and say what you're supposed to say.
But, babe,
Oh, I'm sorry, hon. Would it make it that much easier for you if we settled on just one number?
Yeah, on one real simple number that'd be easy for me to remember.
You sure do like that ketchup, don't you, dear?
Ketchup is good stuff, babe. There are exactly 57 card-carrying members of the Communist Party in the Defense Department at this time. Point of order, Mr. Speaker! Point of order!
Raymond. Raymond.
Chunji!
What the hell are you doing here? What are you up to?
Seabird!
What was Raymond Shaw doing?
Seabird, can't they keep him? Ah! Nigga, no sugar, buddy!
How did the old garden ladies turn
No,
into
no,
Russians?
man!
How did they
Seabird!
turn into Russians? What were you doing there? What the hell were you doing there?
Vamos, tia! Get the kid!
I must say, that was quite original. Having the police call so shyly and ask me out on our very first date.
Well, they asked me who would I be willing to,
I know. And thank you. Thank you very much.
Gotta find Raymond. He may be home by now.
All right, darling, whatever you need, but first, I have something to tell you. Do you know what I was doing when you so cleverly had the police call me to ask me out on our very first date? Don't try to guess. You're too tired. I'll just tell you. After I dropped you off, I went straight home to my apartment, then I ran right upstairs.
Apartment 3B.
That's right. Very good. Well, before I even took my coat off, I telephoned my fiancé and, well, I told you I wasn't married. I never said I wasn't engaged. Well, I called my fiancé and I told him that I had just met you, and I gave him his ring back. And then, just then, you had the police call and invite me down to the 24th precinct. So I grabbed my coat, kissed my fiancé in the cheek for the last time in our lives we would ever kiss, and I ran. When I got to the police station, they said you had just beat up an Asian gentleman, but that you were a pretty solid type yourself, according to Washington, with whom they'd apparently checked. And I figured, if they went to all the trouble to get a comment on you out of George Washington himself, well, you must be someone pretty important indeed. And I must say, it's awfully nice, the General, with you only being a major. I didn't even know you knew each other. Oh, Ben, if they were the tiniest bit puzzled about you, they could have asked me. And I would have told them. Oh, my darling Ben, I would have told them.
Hey, kid. Ben, what in the hell's going on? They telephoned me in Washington to say you broke into my apartment and beat up my houseboy.
Look, Raymond, I have something to tell you. I've been having this nightmare. It's a real swinger of a nightmare, too, and it has to do with all kinds of strange people.
Is it about some Chinese brass and Russian generals and me and the men who were on the patrol?
How did you know? How did you know?
Take your hands off me. You remember Melvin, the corporal on the patrol? Well, I had a letter from him a few weeks ago. Needless to say, I was very surprised to hear from him. You know how much the guys in the outfit hated me. Well, not as much as I hated them, of course. Well, the funny thing was, in his letter, he said I was the best friend he had in the army. Why, the poor simple boob. Well, anyway, he keeps dreaming about the guys in the patrol stuck in this hotel lobby with some Russian generals and Chinese brass and I don't know. Anyway, what's so much of a nightmare about that?
Raymond, will you do something for me? Will you call El Dorado 59970? If a young lady answers, tell her I've gone to Washington. City, not the General. Tell her I'll be in touch with her right away. Can you do that, Raymond? El Dorado 59970.
Major! Photos you're looking at are shots of actors, Mexican circus performers, Czech research chemists, Japanese criminals, French head waiters, pastoral psychiatrists, and of course, various officials with the USSR, the People's Republic of China, and the Soviet Army.
Hold that one there on the right. That one too.
Exactly 1 hour ago, your friend, Mr. Alan Malvin, in Spokane, Washington, made the same two photographs. This one, incidentally, is Zilkov, head of Soviet security, and a nasty one. This one's likely responsible for your recurring dreams, as low as they come. All right, Ben. I'm going to recommend that we set up a joint CIA-FBI unit out of New York. You'll work with them representing the Army. Your assignment's Raymond Shaw. Should be a pleasant assignment for you, Major, considering that Raymond Shaw is the kindest, bravest, most wonderful human being you've ever known in your life.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love came to me. A partridge in a pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love came to me.
12 days of Christmas. One day's lonesome enough. My mother, Ben, is a terrible woman. A terrible, terrible woman. It's a terrible thing to hate your mother. When I was a child, I only kind of disliked her. After what she did to Josie and me, that's when I began to hate her.
Josie?
Josie Jordan. Senator Jordan's daughter. Ha! That's pretty funny, isn't it? Senator Jordan's daughter, Johnny Iselin's stepson. That's her over there. Josie.
She's lovely.
Yeah. I always keep her picture. Years later, I realized, Ben, that I'm not lovable. No, don't contradict me. I am not lovable. Some people are lovable and some people are not lovable, and I'm not lovable. Oh, but I was very lovable with Josie. Oh, Ben, you couldn't believe how lovable I was. Of course, my mother fixed all of that. I've been even less lovable than I was since it was the summer before I went into the army. And I was bitten by this snake. Well, while I was lying there, absolutely helpless, afraid to move, because you're not supposed to move. It makes the poison circulate. When all of a sudden, there she was, with a razor blade in her hand.
My daddy's gonna be so pleased about this. I mean, he's just absolutely scared tiddly about snakes in this part of the country. I know that sounds terribly frightening and everything, but in this case, I don't think it is. I mean, I think he's just simply uncomplicatedly afraid of snakes, period. Which is why I happen to be riding around with a razor blade and bottle of potassium permanganate solution. You don't happen to have a handkerchief, do you? No, of course you don't. I don't either. I do have a Kleenex, but seriously, Daddy is going to be just thrilled about this. All summer long, he's been raving about snakes and nobody's ever seen one, and now this. I promise you one thing. It might be a little uncomfortable for you now, but it's absolutely going to make his summer. Now you just lie very still. Don't move. That's very important. I'll be right back at the car.
Where is the young man?
He's right here.
Ah, there he is. You're very lucky, young man. Very lucky. Why, if I were to tell you the statistics by death by snake bite every year, well, in this case, anyway, I think no swelling above and below the bite. Everything's looking normal. Son, I think there's a good chance you're gonna live. You're not a mute, are you?
No, sir. I would like to thank you very much, Miss
Jordan.
Yes, this is Miss Jocelyn Jordan.
How do you do?
Fine.
And now, according to quaint local custom, it's your turn to tell us what your name is.
My name is Raymond Shaw, sir.
How do you do, Raymond? Is your place near here, Raymond?
Yes, it's just the Red House, just across the lake.
Oh, the Iceland house.
No, it's my house. It was my father's. My father left it to me.
Huh. We were told that's the house of Senator Iceland.
Johnny stays there sometimes, sir, when he's too drunk for my mother to allow him to be seen in Washington.
Well, we've done everything that modern science suggests for snake bite, but there's still one folk remedy which we have yet to apply. So just to be on the safe side, so your mother is Mrs. Iceland.
Yes, sir.
You know, I once found it necessary to sue your mother for slander and defamation of character. I'm Senator Jordan, Senator Tom Jordan.
The communist.
Your mother has this endearing trait where she will refer to anybody who refers to
Your mother has this endearing trait where she'll refer to anyone who disagrees with her about anything as a communist. Why, on a network radio program, she once referred to me, and it cost her $65,000 in court costs. I think what hurt her most, though, is the fact that I donated all of it to an organization that's called the American Civil Liberties Union.
Senator Jordan, I would like to very much ask your permission, sir, to marry Jocelyn.
You'll watch out for this one.
We were together every minute after that. Oh God, Ben, you couldn't believe how lovable the whole damn thing was. All summer long, we were together. I was lovable. Josie was lovable. The senator was lovable. The days were lovable. The nights were lovable. Everybody was lovable. Except, of course, my mother.
Raymond?
What is it, mother?
What sort of greeting is that at 3:30 in the morning?
It's 2:45, and what do you want?
I want to speak with you, Raymond, about that communist tart.
Shut up with that, mother. Just shut up!
You know what Senator Jordan is. Are you out to crucify me?
I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't want to know. I'm going to bed.
Sit down, Raymond. How would you even see her? She lives in New York, and you have your army service.
Next spring. I might be dead by next spring.
Raymond, if we were at war and you were infatuated with the daughter of a Russian agent, wouldn't you expect me to come to you and object and beg you to call the whole thing off before it's too late? Well, we are at war. It's a cold war, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse until every man, woman, and child in this country will stand up and be counted, either on the side of right and freedom or on the side of the Thomas Jordans of this world. If you like, I will go with you to Washington, D.C. tomorrow and show you documented proof that Senator Jordan stands for evil, that he is evil, and that he has devoted his entire life to undermining the things that you and Johnny and I and every freedom-loving American believe.
She won! Of course. She always does. I can never beat her. Still can't. So I wrote a letter, or she wrote a letter, and I signed it. I don't remember which. It was a terrible, vile, disgusting letter. And I never saw Josie again. God knows, Ben, I'm not lovable, but I loved her. I did love her. I do love her.
Come on. It's time for you to go to bed.
And I've got no defense for it. The heat is too intense for it. What good would common sense for it do? 'Cause it's witchcraft, wicked witchcraft.
So this lousy brother-in-law of mine, I say to him, "You think you're a poker player? I've got a flash for you. Here, please." "You ain't no poker player. Why don't you spend some time learning to play a little solitaire, right?" So then he says to me,
"Give me a deck of cards, please."
There you go.
Hey, beer. Can I get a beer, please? Hey, kid. Sorry I'm late. Traffic held me up.
So I say to him, here's what you ought to do. Get yourself a cab, go up to Central Park, right, and jump into the lake.
Raymond. Raymond, where are you going? Raymond. 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 What are you doing? What are you doing? Get out of there. Hi. What the hell are you doing? What's the matter with you? I don't know. You just bolted out of the bar, came to the 7th Park, and almost jumped in the water. I don't remember, Ben. I just don't remember. In my dream, I remember what you were doing with your hands. Of course.
Obviously, the solitaire game acts as some sort of trigger mechanism.
Black 7 on red 8. I suggest we discard the various number combinations and focus on the face cards. Red 6 on black 7?
Thanks a lot.
Because of their symbolic identification with human beings. Based on Raymond's psychiatric profile, I think we can safely eliminate the Jackson Kings. Black 6 on red 7.
Would you like to give it a try? Queen of Diamonds on Black King.
Hey, what are you doing? To cheat at solitaire is the lowest form.
Mickey, I remember that Russian cat standing there, smiling like Rasputin, saying, "The Queen of Diamonds is reminiscent in many ways of Raymond's dearly loved but hated mother, and is the second key to clear the mechanism for any other assignments." That's a big.
Our republic repeats republic until the peril of international communism is driven from every dark corner of this great nation.
You know, hon, I can't tell you how worried I am about Raymond.
Raymond? What Raymond?
Raymond Shaw, my son, your stepson. I've been giving him a great deal of thought lately, and you know what I've decided?
What?
I've decided it's time he got married. What do you find so amusing?
Who could you possibly find who would marry Raymond?
I have given that problem a considerable amount of thought. You remember Senator Jordan's daughter, Jocelyn? That bouncy little girl that Raymond was so infatuated with that summer at the lake?
Oh yeah, that little communist tart?
All right, so it's a little bit hasty. Anyway, times change. I've now decided that she would make Raymond an excellent wife. She's been abroad in Paris the last couple of years, but I've received word she'll be home soon. And when she is, I think we should throw her a little welcome home party.
But babe, I thought you and Senator Jordan...
I keep telling you not to think. You are very good at a great number of things, hon, but thinking just isn't one of them. You just keep shouting, "Point of order! Point of order!" into the television cameras and let me handle the rest. I think a June wedding would be lovely, right before the convention. Raymond, why is your apartment the only one in all of New York City without an air conditioner? Honestly, sometimes I think you come to us from another century. You with the face. The steaks are to be broiled for exactly 11 minutes, no more, no less, on a preheated grill at either side at 400 degrees.
Yes, ma'am.
Raymond,
Mother, what are you doing here? Why, is it time for our annual meeting?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, when you sent me a message announcing you were coming to lunch, I naturally assumed it was because you wanted something.
Not at all. This is purely a social call. But as you may or may not be aware, Johnny and I are giving an enormous party. A costume ball, actually, at the Summer House on Long Island, and I thought you might like to attend.
Are you out of your mind?
Well, the reason I ask is because we're giving it in honor of an old friend of yours and her father.
What old friend?
Do you remember that darling girl you met that summer at the lake before you went into the army? She's been abroad the last couple of years, but she's just returned home to New York, and I thought that given the rather shabby way that you treated her, it would be a rather gracious gesture if I gave her a welcome home party.
Senator Jordan and Josie coming to a party of yours?
Of course they will, once I tell them that you will be there.
It's all right. It's Polish caviar.
Johnny, come over here. You with the face, take our picture. Stand in the middle.
Where is she, Mother? Have they come?
She'll be here any minute, I guarantee it.
Are you absolutely sure she's coming, Mother?
Raymond, don't be such a jerk. Go get yourself a drink or a tranquilizer or something. Raymond can certainly be a royal pain.
Oh, Ray, she's just kidding. You look great. You look just great. What are you supposed to be anyway? One of those Dutch skaters?
Oh, Raymond, darling. Why do you always have to look as if your head is going to come to a point? She'll be here, I guarantee it. Just relax. Why don't we take a drink quietly and sit down for a few minutes?
Are you absolutely sure she's coming, Mother?
I told you. She telephoned me just 20 minutes ago from the hotel.
Oh, Mother, how did she sound?
Like a girl. Raymond, why don't you pass the time by playing a little solitaire?
Tomboy, Johnny. Tomboy, it's so good of you to come. Look, the only reason I'm here at this fascist rally is because my daughter assured me in her happiness in my coming. So don't get any funny ideas. There is no other reason. Good old Tom.
Raymond, the time has come to make some important decisions. We have decided that you will need...
Hey, Tom Jordan's here. I need you.
I'll be right there.
Well, hurry up, will you? We got work to do out here.
I'll take the Queen of Diamonds with me. It may bring mischief if I leave it.
Yes, Mother.
I'll be back as soon as I can.
Raymond, I've been watching you through the window. When I saw you, my heart nearly shot out of my body. I sent Daddy around the front way. I had to see you alone.
Josie? Oh, Josie!
Come on, lover. Why don't you take this somewhere quietly and go drink it?
But babe, I...
Run along now, dear. The grown-ups have to talk. So good of you to come, Tom.
I already told your husband why I'm here.
Tom, I know you have very strong personal feelings about me and about Johnny. What I would like to find out is how strong they really are. To put it simply, if Johnny's name were put forward at the convention next week, would you attempt to block us?
You're joking, of course.
Adlai Stevenson makes jokes. I do not.
You're seriously trying for the nomination for Johnny?
No, we couldn't make it. But I do think he has a good chance for the second spot. Now, I've answered your question, but you haven't answered mine.
What question?
Will you attempt to block us?
Will I block you? I would spend every penny I own and all that I can borrow to block you. You know, there are some that think of Johnny as a clown and a buffoon, but I don't. I despise Johnny Iceland and everything that Icelandism has come to stand for. In fact, I think that if Johnny Iceland were a paid Soviet agent, he could not do more harm to this country than he's doing right now. You ask me a question? Fine, I'll answer. If you deal with the delegates, or if you cause Johnny's name to be brought forward on a ticket, or if in my canvass of the delegates I find out by telephone tomorrow morning that you are so acting, I will bring impeachment proceedings to the floor of the United States Senate against your husband. I will hit him. I'll hit him hard. I promise you, with everything in my well-documented book.
Oh, no, 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 no! How can this be? Raymond! Raymond, where are you?
Rosie. We're gonna play some cards. For $1 million, pick a card.
Card tricks? If I'd only known.
Come on, pick a card. Queen of Diamonds.
Hey, that's pretty good. How'd you do that?
This, my dear, is what is known as a forced deck. It is employed by a professional magician who uses it to help him figure out what the little old lady in the third row picked out. It's also employed by Army intelligence officers who, Hey, Rosie.
Yeah.
Let's get married.
Wow, we're in good spirits tonight, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are, my dear. Tomorrow's a big day. Lunch with Raymond. Play a little game of solitaire. Talk a little bit about the good old days in Korea. Make a few suggestions and then rip out all those wires. And then, my dear girl, it's all over. Hey, Rosie.
Yes.
What's the matter? Don't you want to?
Want to what?
Get married! Why don't you listen to me when I'm talking to you?
Oh, Betty, I want to marry you more than I want to go eating Italian food. And that should tell you something.
Well, let's get on with it, kiddo. Take all the tests, do the papers, figure out what to name the kids, rent the rice, buy the ring, call the folks.
What folks?
You too?
Mm-mm. I used to be convinced as a baby that I was the sole survivor of a spaceship that overshot Mars.
Very sexy stuff. Very, very sexy.
Ben!
Hey, kid.
I want you to meet Josie. Remember I told you about her? Josie, this is my friend, Captain Marco.
Miss Jordan,
How do you do, Major? Only it's not Miss Jordan anymore. It's Mrs. Shaw! Mrs. Raymond Shaw!
We flew to Maryland last night. We got married. Isn't she the most beautiful thing in the world, though? And am I not the luckiest guy in the whole world? I mean, the whole world?
You don't have to answer that, Major. Anyway, I'm the one who's lucky.
Listen, darling, there must be some beer or champagne or penicillin eye drops or anchovies in the icebox. Crack open whatever it is. Come on, bustle, make like a housewife. I'll get out of this idiot suit. Oh, Ben, you should have seen the look on the judge's face. The Queen of Diamonds and me looking like Groucho Marx. Groucho Marx? Ben, I just made a joke. In all the years that you've known me, have you ever heard me make a joke? Well, I just made one. Groucho Marx. Me. Ha! Big day. Raymond Shaw got married and he made a joke. Ha! Groucho Marx.
Queen of Diamonds. What do you mean by the Queen of Diamonds?
My costume. There was this costume party and I dressed up as the Queen of Diamonds. I couldn't think of what to wear and then I passed by the shop window.
Miss Shaw, Josie, the reason I came here today was to ask Raymond to subject himself to some questions.
Questioning? What kind of questioning?
Well, Josie, Raymond is sick. In a special kind of way. He doesn't even realize it himself.
Sick? He's not sick. He's the healthiest man I've ever seen in my entire life. You can tell that just by looking at him.
That's not the kind of sick I mean.
Well, you're wrong, Ben. You're wrong. We were married but 6 hours ago. We've been in cars and airplanes and offices ever since. Listen, there is an inn. Bedford House in Bedford Village. It's about an hour from here. Please, Ben, you have to believe me and trust me. I can make him well.
I'll give you 48 hours, and then I'll talk to him.
Thank
and then
you.
we'll see.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. God bless you.
From his campaign headquarters this morning, Senator Eisland stepped up his charges against Senator Thomas Jordan, the leader of the group attempting to block his nomination.
I now charge this man, Thomas Jordan, with high treason. And I assure you, the moment the Senate reconvenes, I shall move for this man Jordan's impeachment, and after that, a civil trial.
Come on, get dressed. We're going down to New York. Go straight to your father's house. Please convey my personal apologies to him. I'll see you there later.
What are you gonna do?
Something I should have done a long time ago. I'm gonna beat that vile, slandering son of a numbskull into a bloody pulp! Mother! That vile, slandering husband of yours, where is he?
Darling, something very important has come up. There's something that you need to do.
Who is it?
It's me.
Raymond, my boy, come on in. Josie waited as long as she could. She turned in about 1:45. She told me the good news. Raymond, congratulations. I want to welcome you into this family. I've been watching my daughter's face all evening. I can't tell you what a happy girl she is.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, I'll pour you some good scotch. We'll celebrate your upcoming wedding. And I hope that you have not been upset by those absurd attacks by Senator Eisland. And I mean, I actually take the position that any attack by Senator Eisland is a compliment, because I haven't had so much supporting mail in my last 22 years in the Senate.
I'm very glad to hear that, sir.
What the hell is that in your hand?
It's a pistol.
Why on
Sir.
earth are you carrying a pistol? Raymond, what are you doing? Raymond, no! No.
Daddy? What is it? Raymond! No! Raymond, don't!
No!
Ben, what is it?
This morning, Raymond Shaw shot and killed his wife.
Doesn't say that.
I know. It wasn't really Raymond that did it. In a way, it was me.
As you can well understand, ladies and gentlemen, we are prostrate over the loss of this dear and wonderful girl whom we loved as a daughter.
And your stepson, Senator, where is he?
My son Raymond is in retreat, praying for strength, praying for understanding, trying to carry on somehow.
Ben? Hey, kid. Where are you? We can't talk on the phone. Just tell
How
me
could
where you
anyone... Josie, how did this happen? I think I'm going crazy. I'm starting to have those terrible dreams like you used to have.
I know, Raymond. Look, just tell me where you are. Tell me where you are.
I'm in a hotel room across from Madison Square Garden on the 8th Avenue side. Room 4.
All right, listen to me. Stay right there. I'm gonna be there in 10 minutes, okay? Well, what do you know? They just handed a vice presidential nomination to that idiot in Iceland. Hey, kid.
Who killed Josie, Ben? I need to know.
How about passing the time playing a little game of solitaire? Okay. Let's start unlocking a few doors. Let's start with the patrol. You didn't save our lives or take out an enemy company or anything like that, did you, Ray? Did you?
No. Our patrol was captured by a Russian airborne unit and flown by a helicopter across the Manchurian border to a place called Tunghua. We were drilled for 3 days by a team of specialists from the Pavlov Institute in Moscow. They specialize in descent into the unconscious mind. We were worked on for 3 days. We were made to memorize the details of the imaginary action. And I strangled Edma Voley and shot Bobby Lembeck.
One Red Queen works pretty good. Let's see what we get with 2 of them. Keep playing.
And then I killed Holborn Gaines. It didn't matter who I killed. It was a test. They wanted to see if all the wires were working before handing me over to my American operator. And that business about jumping in the lake, it was an accident. Something somebody said in the bar accidentally triggered it.
Keep playing.
And then I shot Senator Jordan. And
Stop, Raymond. You are to forget everything that happened at the Senator's house. Do you understand? You're only going to remember when I tell you to. You are to forget about it. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, Raymond, the big one. Why? Why is all this being done? What have they built you to do?
I don't know. I don't think anyone knows except maybe Zilkov and my American operator. But whatever it is, it's meant to happen soon, right at the convention. Maybe, I don't know. They can make me do anything, Ben, can't they? Anything.
Well, we'll see what they can do. We'll see what we can do. So the Red Queen's our baby. All right, Raymond. Look at them. 52 of them. 52 Red Queens of me are telling you it's over. We're busting up the joint. We're ripping out all the wiring. That's an order. If anyone asks you to play a game of solitaire, you tell them, sorry, Buster, the game's over.
That's my American operator. It's time for her to give me the plan.
Yes, I understand, Mother. There's a car waiting. She wants me to go downstairs. The convention's adjourned until 9. It'll reconvene then for acceptance speeches. I don't think anything will happen until then, but I'd better go now.
All right, Raymond, here's the number. I have 1,000 agents at my disposal. You call me at 8:30. And remember, Raymond, the wires have been pulled. They can't touch you anymore. You're free.
Yes, sir.
Raymond, it has been decided that you will be dressed as a priest to help you get away in the pandemonium afterwards. Chunjin will give you a 2-piece Soviet Army sniper's rifle, which fits nicely in a special bag. There will be a spotlight booth that is not in use up under the roof on the 8th Avenue side of the garden. You will have clear, protected shooting. You are to shoot the presidential nominee, Benjamin Arthur, in the head. And then Johnny will rise gallantly to his feet, take Arthur's body into his arms, stand at the microphone and begin to speak. It's a short speech, but it's the most rousing one I've ever written. Now, this is very important. You are to hit the nominee 2 minutes into his acceptance speech, depending upon his reading time under pressure. You are to shoot him after he utters the words, "Nor would I ask of any fellow American, in defense of his freedom, that which I would not gladly give myself, my life before my liberty." Is that absolutely clear? Will you repeat it for me, Raymond?
Nor would I ask of any fellow American,
in defense of his freedom,
in defense of his freedom,
that which I would not gladly give,
that which I would not gladly give,
myself,
my life,
before my liberty.
Before my liberty.
Raymond, I know that you will never truly comprehend this, but you must believe I did not know it would be you. I served them. I fought for them. I'm on the verge of winning for them the greatest foothold they will ever have in this country. And how do they pay me back? By taking your soul away from you. I told them to build me an assassin. I wanted a killer from a world full of killers. But they chose you because they thought it would bind me closer to them. Well, this is almost at an end. Just one more step. And when I take power, I will see to it that they are torn down and ground into dirt for what they did to you and in for so contemptuously underestimating me. Now go. I need to speak with my husband.
Yes, Mother.
Babe, I've been working on the speech, so you know it comes more from the heart. This is just a draft. So after Ben Arthur bites the farm, I go around him and I say this. Freedom. America is built on freedom. America stands for freedom. America is the protector of freedom. But what does freedom really mean? Let's consider the word itself. 2 syllables, free and dumb. The first syllable is free. But let me assure you, my friends, freedom is not free. No, not at all. In fact, it is the opposite of free. It is very expensive. You have got to work long, hard hours to earn the right for freedom, or you need to be very, very wealthy. That is the only route to freedom. The second syllable is dumb. My friends, I say to you, I will fight any man who calls freedom dumb. Freedom is not stupid, my friends. It is very, very smart.
Johnny, I had something different in mind. You will run to Ben Arthur's body and cradle it in your arms. Be sure to get blood on your hands, your shirt, your tie, but don't let it soak through. His blood must mark you, but not paint you. Security will try to rush you off, but you will break free and stand at the podium. The killer or killers still out there, but you will pay them no heed. Your arms out wide like Christ himself. There will be panic, but you will calm them. And when they are quiet, you will begin to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, I have no words, for there are no words which can do justice when freedom has been lost. And that is what has happened here, now, in this temple of freedom. How bitterly ironic that Benjamin Arthur's last words were an oath to give his life for freedom. Our enemies, within or without, we know not, have forced him to keep his oath. But as I stand before you undaunted, unafraid of those who would snuff out the light of liberty, I say to you, I make the same oath that I would gladly give my life so that freedom will prevail. And it will. I promise you. We will avenge the death of this great man, my friend. But the time for justice will come. For now you may feel shock. You may feel outrage. You should feel grief. But do not fear for one moment for yourselves. For while you have lost a great sentinel of freedom, I rise in his place to stand and carry the sword and shield of democracy to keep this great nation vital. One day God may see fit to retire the United States of America. But today, my friends, is not that day. Who will stand with me? Who will rise with me to carry on this great man's dying oath?
That has some pretty good stuff in it too, babe. I think the best thing to do would be to combine the best parts of my draft with yours.
The country will see you, Johnny, defending America, even if it means your own death. Rallying a nation of television viewers to hysteria. When you are done, the nomination will be academic. The election an afterthought. They will sweep us into the White House with powers so broad it will make martial law look like anarchy. And in our first 100 days, we will enact legislation to ensure that our interests are so entrenched, so protected, so set in stone that even a dozen revolutions couldn't scratch them.
Good plan. That's a good plan, babe.
Mickey, it's 8:40. Why hasn't he called? It was a calculated risk, man. You were right to take it. All right, Mickey, I blew it. My magic is better than their magic. I should have known better. Intelligence officer. Stupidity officer is more like it. The Army ever wants to open up a stupidity division, well, they know who can lead it. Mickey Raymond was theirs. He is theirs. He's always going to be theirs.
There's time. He may still call.
You want to bet?
No.
That's what I thought.
Well, what do you think they're going to do?
I I don't know. It could be anything. Well, for Christ's sakes, Ben, what would you do? What would you do? Assassinate the nominee and put my Confederate, your stooge, my youthful idiot, in power. Let's get out of here. Right, Ben, let's go. Stop this thing! You gotta stop the whole thing! Stop it! How can I stop it? On what? You! You there! Are you in charge? You've got to stop everything and evacuate the building. You've got to do it now!
What? We are seconds away from nominating the man who, in my humble opinion, will be the next president of the United States on national TV.
Well, on behalf of the government of the United States, I'm ordering you to evacuate!
Well, I am contravening your order, sir.
On what authority?
On the authority vested in me by the Columbia Broadcast Service, the American Broadcast Corporation, and the National Broadcast Corporation.
Hate network television! What could possibly be worse? We gotta find Raymond. We gotta find him. Let's go.
Arthur! 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 Stop twitching, Johnny. Raymond never missed with a shot in his life. We are in like Flynn, lover. Just relax.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States, Benjamin K. Arthur!
Ladies and gentlemen, delegates, my fellow Americans, it is with great humility, albeit with enormous pride, and a sense of the job to be done that I most humbly and most gratefully accept this nomination to the highest office in our land. It is with a full awareness that the 4 years that lie ahead of us are, in a sense, the crucial years. The years, to borrow Mr. Churchill's phrase, the years of decision.
Nick, look, that's Raymond. We could still stop him. Let's go.
And if I may be permitted a phrase of my own, the years of striving. For it is not what hasn't been done in the past, or what may yet be done against the far horizon of some distant future, but what will be done now. My fellow Americans, nor would I ask of any fellow American in defense of his freedom, that which I would not gladly give myself, my life before my liberty.
Oh, Raymond, you were always such a pill!
Put down the gun, son.
Ben, you couldn't have stopped them.
Don't
The
have to
army
do
couldn't
this.
have stopped them.
Raymond,
That's why I had to.
Raymond, put it down.
That's why I didn't call.
Raymond.
Oh, God.
Raymond.
Ben!
Raymond! No!
What is it?
Will the we trust to give you the best, most objective, most balanced, most fair, most patriotic coverage of the fight for the congressional midterms. Your best choice, your only choice for top to bottom, 24/7 coverage of the 2022 congressional midterms. From Florida to Alaska, from Hawaii to Texas, your best and only trusted source for the most complete news coverage. The Liberty News Network. Your best source for real news in 2022. This is LNN.
Live in 5, 4.
Welcome back to the Liberty News Network. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we have my favorite segment, our Whiner of the Week.
Ooh, I can't wait. Give us a little hint, pretty please.
You know better than that. You'll spoil it.
Oh, just a little hint, just a little tease. Mama needs a taste to get her through the day.
Don't have a spiritual spasm. Okay, here's a hint. If I have to hear our Whiner of the Week cry one more time about these people can't pay for medical care, they have a right to health care. I'll tell you what you have a right to. You have a right to get off your fat butt and work. Health ain't free, my friend.
No, it is not. In the United States of Freedom, you need to pay to be healthy.
And isn't that what freedom is all about?
100%! 100%!
Okay, hold your horses. We'll get to this and more. But for now, let's go live to our Pentagon correspondent who has an exclusive interview with the Secretary of Defense.
Thanks, Darla. Madam Secretary, give us the scoop on what we can expect to see in the Defense Modern Authorization Act.
Well, I'd be happy to. We're efforting a vast modernization effort across all of our service areas.
Don't avoid the question, Madam Secretary!
What? Avoid what question? I'm answering the question. Who are you?
I am Senator Davis L. Holly. And the question I've been asking for days is how long have you known there are 203 card-carrying members of the Communist Party in the Defense Department?
What?
What are you trying to hide, Madam Secretary? Why aren't you being straight with the American people?
What are you talking about? What is this, the 1950s? Are we really going back to this?
We sure are!
Dumbarton House Museum. We want to thank Mary Lesher and all of her team for making these 3 sold-out nights of the Manchurian Candidate possible. We will be back in November with our 24th play at Dumbarton House. So I hope you'll join us again.